At my graduation, Dad whispered. Finally, someone else. I didn't expect what I had planned next. I'd spent 4 years in that godforsaken liberal arts college in upstate New York, burying the truth deeper than the Adirondack snow. All while he sipped scotch in our old colonial in suburban Chicago, toasting to my success like it absolved him. But as the dean handed me that rolled-up parchment, my fingers itched for the envelope burning a hole in my pocket, the one that would unravel his empire like a cheap suit in a rainstorm. The cap and gown itched like a guilty conscience, but I plastered on that all-American smile as the flashbulbs popped. Elmwood University wasn't Harvard, but in a town like Saratoga Springs, it might as well have been. Kids from moneyed families like mine, old WASP stock with trust funds thicker than the Hudson, filed across the stage, shaking hands with professors who droned on about the future. Mine stretched out like a bad hangover, endless, pounding, and full of regrets I hadn't earned. Dad was front row, center, his Brooks Brothers suit crisp as a fresh lie. Richard Hargrove, pillar of the community, real estate mogul who'd flipped half of Chicagoland into strip malls and McMansions. He caught my eye as I descended the steps. That trademark grin splitting his face, charming, disarming, the kind that sealed deals over 18-year Macallans. Proud of you, kiddo, he mouthed, but I knew the subtext. Finally, someone else to carry the family torch. Mom had burned out years ago, her ashes scattered in Lake Michigan after the accident, the one I'd helped cover up. I hugged aunts and uncles I barely knew, air-kissing cheeks scented with Chanel No. 5 and entitlement. Cousin Becca, the golden child from Boston, gushed about her Yale law apps. You're next in line for the firm, Alice. Dad says you're a natural. Natural at what? Falsifying ledgers? Shredding documents? I nodded, sipping warm champagne from plastic flutes, the bubbles fizzing like suppressed rage. The reception tent fluttered in the June breeze. White linen tables groaning under finger sandwiches and shrimp cocktail, quintessential East Coast prep, even if we were Midwestern transplants. By dusk, the crowd thinned, and Dad cornered me near the parking lot, his arms slung heavy around my shoulders. Dinner at the club? Celebrate properly. His breath was minty, masking the bourbon. I could smell the victory on him, the way he'd already texted his broker about fresh capital from my impending internship at Hargrove Properties.
Sure, Dad.
But first, I slipped the envelope from my pocket, the thick cream stock sealed with red wax like a summons from hell. His eyes flicked to it, curiosity sharpening into something feral. What's this? Bonus points for dramatics. Read it later. In private, my voice was steady, honed from years of boardroom rehearsals he'd forced on me. It's your future. Our future. He chuckled, low and dismissive, tucking it into his breast pocket. Always the storyteller. Alice. Like your mother. The mention hung there, a barb wrapped in nostalgia. Mom, Elena, had been the dreamer, the artist who'd traded her canvases for his spreadsheets, only to end up bloated and blue in a rented cabin up in Door County, Wisconsin. Official cause: accidental overdose on Xanax and wine. But I'd seen the texts, the bruises hidden under long sleeves. And the note she'd left. Not for him, but for me. He'll make you carry it all. Don't. We drove south in his gleaming Escalade, the thruway slicing through green hills dotted with farm stands selling artisanal cheese that cost more than a mechanic's weekly wage. Dad rambled about expansion plans, luxury condos in Naperville, golf courses in the exurbs, while I stared out at the fading light, plotting trajectories like one of his development maps. Revenge wasn't a straight line, it was a subdivision. Lots carved out meticulously. Utilities buried deep. The club was old money incarnate. Oak-paneled walls. Crystal decanters. Waitstaff in starched whites gliding like ghosts. We settled into a corner booth. The menu a litany of overpriced steaks and heirloom salads. Dad ordered the ribeye. Rare. Blood pooling like accusations. So,
Spill.
what's in the envelope? Your resignation? A tell-all? I traced the rim of my water glass. Ice clinking softly. Remember the Kensington deal? 2018. That waterfront property in Evanston you acquired for pennies? His fork paused midair. Eyes narrowing just a fraction. Kensington. The one where tenants, mostly Black and Latino families, fresh off the Great Recession, got evicted en masse for code violations that mysteriously appeared overnight. I'd been 18, home from freshman year, interning at the firm. Dad had me forge the inspection reports. My signature a shaky scrawl on falsified PDFs. Health and safety, he'd said. For the greater good. Progress. Alice. That's America. I remember, he said evenly, cutting into a steak with surgical precision. Closed the biggest profit that year. Funded your tuition. And the lawsuits? The ones you buried with NDAs and payoffs. My pulse thrummed, but I kept it cool. Midwestern polite. One tenant didn't take the hush money. Maria Delgado. She went public. Accused us of discrimination. Remember her? Dad's jaw tightened, the vein in his temple pulsing like a warning light. Fringe activist. We handled it. You handled it by having your fixer spike her brake lines on I-94. The words dropped like grenades. Casual as ordering fries. His knife clattered against the plate. Jesus. Alice. Where's this coming from? But his eyes, those sharp, calculating blues, betrayed him. Flickering, recalculating alliances. I leaned in, voice a whisper over the murmur of silverware. Mom found out. That's why the cabin. Not an accident. She confronted you.
And you.
Persuaded her otherwise. Then made me swear silence. Said it'd ruin us all. The firm. The house. My future. He sat back, composing himself like a chess master conceding a pawn. Elena was unstable. Paranoia from the meds. You know that. I know what I saw. The envelope weighed on us both now. Invisible but crushing. Inside, copies of the texts. The forged reports. Maria's police file. Brakes tampered. Ruled mechanical failure. And Mom's real note. The one the coroner never saw. Slipped to me in a hidden drawer. Richard killed for Kensington. Protect the truth. Alice. Or become it. Dad signaled for the check. His charm fracturing into something colder. You're upset. Grad stress. We'll talk tomorrow. Sort this family business. But as we walked to the valet, his hand on my elbow gripped a fraction too tight. Don't do anything rash.
Kiddo.
Blood's thicker than ink. I smiled. Sweet as pie. Wouldn't dream of it. Dad. That night, in the hotel suite he'd booked, overlooking Saratoga's racetrack. All velvet ropes and ghost of affluence. I didn't sleep. Instead, I paced the marble floors, replaying the timeline like a noir reel. It started small. Dad's affairs. Mom's tears. My complicity in the lies to keep the peace. Then Kensington escalated it. I'd signed off on the evictions, thinking it was just paperwork. But Maria's face, haunted, defiant in that viral news clip, haunted me back. And Mom's end? The final stitch in the noose. By dawn, I was on the road west, the envelopes twins stashed in my glove box. Chicago waited, a concrete jungle of opportunities and old scores. Dad thought graduation was his exit strategy, offloading the sins onto me. But I had plans. Big ones. The kind that turned prodigal daughters into reckoning angels. The drive blurred into 8 hours of podcasts on true crime, ironic, given my pedigree and gas station coffee that tasted like regret. Billboards hawked megachurches and monster trucks. The Heartland's siren call. By Gary, Indiana. The skyline loomed. Lake Michigan, a steel-gray mirror reflecting my resolve. Home was the family McMansion in Kenilworth, white pickets. Infinity pool. A facade cracked only by the foreclosure notices I'd intercepted. Dad's Escalade was already in the drive, polished to deception. I parked curbside, heart hammering like a jackhammer on asphalt, and strode up the flagstone path. He was in the study, feet up on the antique desk Mom had loved, scrolling Bloomberg on his iPad. Back early. Jet lag from New York? I dropped my duffel, the thud echoing. No jets. Just clarity. I slid the second envelope across the blotter. Open it.
He did.
Slowly, the paper crinkling like dry leaves. Pages fanned. Emails from his fixer. Lou the ex-cop. Detailing the break job. Bank transfers to Maria's accidental creditors. Silencing her kin. And the kicker, a audio file on a thumb drive. Mom's voice. Tinny but unmistakable. Richard. If you touch her, God help you. Alice knows enough to bury us. Dad's face drained to putty. Where did you? Her safety deposit box. Accessed it last month. Before finals.
Lie.
But close enough. I'd bribed the bank girl with internship promises. He stood, towering, the room shrinking. This is blackmail. Alice. From your own father.
No.
Justice. My voice cracked. Just once, the girl I'd been peeking through. For Mom. For Maria. For every tenant you steamrolled because progress pays dividends. His laugh was bitter. A salesman's pitch gone sour. Justice? In this country? Wake up. Sweetheart. The Delgados got relocation checks. Elena. She chose her path. Weakness does that. Weakness. I stepped closer. The desk a Berlin Wall between us. Or seeing through you, the affairs, the shell companies, the bribes to zoning boards. I covered for all of it. Signed my name to your sins. But Kensington? That's murder.
Dad.
2 counts. He circled the desk, slow as a shark. And you think leaking this helps? You'll tank the firm. Your inheritance. Everything I built for you, built on bodies. The words tasted like ash, but they landed. For a moment, we were statues, father and daughter, mirrors of each other, sharp jaw, hazel eyes, that ruthless glint. Then he softened, the manipulator's pivot. Okay, let's fix this. Partners, like always. I'll divest Kensington remnants, donate to some housing charity. Your name on it. Hero status. Tempting. The easy out. The American dream repackaged. But I saw the trap, more lies, deeper graves. No deals. I backed toward the door. I'm going to Maria. The real story. Then the DA. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist, hard enough to bruise. You little bitch. After everything? The slap came fast, instinctive, my palm cracking across his cheek. He reeled, shock blooming red. Get out, he hissed. Before I make you. I fled to my old room upstairs, locking the door, breath ragged. The house creaked like it mourned, floorboards whispering secrets. Down the hall, his study lamp flickered on, shadows dancing like co-conspirators. By midnight, I'd emailed backups to a burner account, then crashed on the twin bed, dreams tangled in brake fluid and maternal ghosts. Morning brought coffee and a text from Dad. Family meeting. 8 a.m. Bring your head. I showed, armed with resolve. He was at the kitchen island, pouring Folgers, face a mask of paternal concern. Slept on it, wider awake. I accepted the mug, steam curling like doubts. Listen, Alice. I was wrong. About Elena. About pushing you. But this path? Destruction. For all of us. He slid a folder over, divorce papers from a decade ago. Annotated. She was leaving anyway. The cabin was her escape, not mine. Lies layered like lasagna. But the annotations rang true. Mom's signature. Dated pre-Kensington. Had she known? Doesn't excuse murder. No one's dead but her choices. He leaned in, eyes pleading now, the flip. From predator to penitent. Help me make it right. Without the apocalypse. I wavered. The siren song of reconciliation. Blood. After all. But Maria's face flashed. Widowed. Childless. Her lawsuit dismissed as frivolous. Prove it. Meet Maria. Apologize. On record. His nod was reluctant. A chess concession.
Fine.
But you sit in. Witness. The drive to Pilsen was tense. The looped skyscrapers giving way to murals and Ticarius. Maria lived in a walk-up above a botanica. Saints' candles flickering in the window. She answered the buzzer warily. Her face lined but fierce, 50s, maybe, with silver streaks and eyes that pierce like switchblades. MS. Delgado? Alice Hargrove. This is my father, Richard. She crossed her arms. Door half shut. The slumlord?
What?
Come to evict my ghosts. Dad stepped forward. Hands open. To apologize. For Kensington. The evictions.
The
Hardships. Her laugh was sharp as broken glass. Hardships? My husband died in that van. Fleeing your progress. Heart attack from stress. And you call it hardships? Dad flinched. Genuine or not, I couldn't tell. I was wrong. Greedy. Let me make amends. A foundation. In his name. Housing for families like yours. Maria's gaze flicked to me. Assessing. And you, girl, you signed the papers. Knew. I swallowed. I did. And I'm sorry. This is just the start. She let us in. The apartment cramped with photos. Her and a beaming man. Kids grown and gone. We talked for hours, raw. Unfiltered. Dad promised checks. Lawyers for reopened cases. Maria haggled like a pro. Demanding transparency. board seats. By noon, handshakes all around. Don't think this erases, she said, but her eyes softened a degree. In the car, Dad exhaled.
See?
Fixable. Without your scorched earth. I nodded, but the seed of doubt sprouted. Was this redemption? Or another layer of control? That night, alone in the house, I dug deeper, hacking his email with a password I'd known since high school, Elena's birthday. Ironic. Buried in deleted folders, correspondence with Lou, postmom. Problem solved. Loose ends? And a reply. Kids next if she talks. My blood iced. The flip again, charm to threat. I forwarded it all to Maria, then to a journalist contact from college, a hungry type at the Tribune. Dawn broke with sirens. Dad's arrest. Front page fodder. Fraud. Tampering. Manslaughter charges. I watched from the lawn, coffee in hand, as cuffs clicked. His eyes met mine through the squad car window. Betrayal.
Pure.
You did this, he mouthed. Family, I whispered back. But as they drove him away, the twist nod, Mom's note. Reread in the chaos. Protect the truth. Or become it. Had she meant expose? Or inherit? The firm crumbled overnight. Assets frozen. My internship vapor. Maria called. Grateful but wary. You burned your bridge too.
Mia.
Weeks blurred into audits. Depositions. I testified. Voice steady. But inside, a void. Dad's trial loomed. A circus of talking heads decrying corporate greed versus overreach. Pundit split. Villain dad. Or ambitious daughter, weaponized by grief. Then the letter arrived. Smuggled from lockup. Knew you'd make me proud. The real estate? Mom's idea. She pushed Kensington. Wanted the money for her art fund. I covered for her addictions. Ask Maria, she was the fixer. Paid to protest for publicity. Lies? Or the gray I'd ignored. I confronted Maria over pozole in her kitchen. Her face crumpled. Elena? She loaned me cash once. Yes. For the fight. But breaks?
No.
That was him. Partial truth.
Mom.
Complicit? The betrayal deepened. Roots twisting. Trial day, federal courthouse in downtown Chicago. Gray suits and fluorescent hum. Dad took the stand, silver-tongued as ever. My daughter. Brilliant, but misled. Elena's death broke her. This vendetta? It's grief. Your honor. The jury wavered. Tabloids feasted. Daddy's girl or Daddy's doom? I cross-examined, voice echoing. You made me sign the lies. Carried your sins. He leaned in. Mike hot. Or did I carry yours? That internship check you cashed, falsified your hours. We all have shadows. Alice. Gasps rippled. My forgery. Minor but damning. The courtroom split, his fans nodding. My allies seething. Closing arguments blurred into verdict. Guilty on fraud. Mistrial on manslaughter. Hung jury. 11-1 for acquittal. Reasonable doubt, the foreman said. Dad walked. Bond posted by cronies. But the firm? Gutted. He vanished to a condo in Miami. Whispers of reinvention.
Me?
I started over in a walk-up in Wicker Park. Bartending at a dive called The Rusty Nail. Slinging IPAs to hipsters nursing heartbreaks. Maria and I partnered on the foundation. Real work. Gritty grants for at-risk housing. One night, Buzzed on old style. She raised a glass. You avenged us. But at what cost? I clinked, the question lingering like smoke. The rusty nails smelled like stale pretzels and yesterday's regrets. A North Side staple where trust fund runaways mingled with actual blue collars. I'd traded my power skirts for faded Levi's and a black tee that read Chicago, Heartless City in peeling letters, irony on tap. Behind the bar, I poured shots with mechanical grace, listening to sob stories that paled next to mine. Ex cheated? Try burying your mom's suicide for daddy's empire. It had been 6 months since the trial. That half-victory tasting like ash in a victory lap. Dad's acquittal on the big charge gnawed at me. A loose thread in the American justice quilt, sewn with money, unraveled by more. He'd slunk to Florida, peddling timeshares to snowbirds, but his emails pinged my spam like ghosts miss you.
Kiddo.
Let's rebuild. Deleted. Everyone. Maria became my anchor. Our foundation, Hargrove Delgado Homes, a scrappy nonprofit clawing grants from City Hall. We met Tuesdays at a taqueria in Little Village, her wisdom cutting through my cynicism like fresh cilantro. Vengeance is a circle, Alice. You broke it. Now live straight. Straight? In this town? Chicago's pulse was crooked. Aldermen in pay-to-play scandals. Cops with side hustles. Developers like Dad reshaping neighborhoods for the highest bidder. I'd applied to law school at Northwestern. Essays laced with redemption arcs. But acceptances stalled. Who hires the disgraced heiress? One rainy October evening, as leaves choked the gutters, the door swung open with a chime that cut the din. Him.
Dad.
Tanned and tailored, a Pan Am carry-on slung over one shoulder like he'd just deplaned from exile. The bar hushed. Regulars elbowing each other. That's her old man. The one on Dateline. Alice. He slid onto a stool, voice smooth as the mahogany grain. 2 fingers of Glenlivet.
Neat.
I froze. Shaker mid-rinse.
We don't stock that.
Bud or Beam. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Figured you'd upgraded by now. Bartending? After Yale-level brains? Elmwood. I corrected. Pouring a double beam anyway. And it's honest. Unlike some. The jab landed, he sipped, wincing at the burn.
Touché.
But I'm here to talk brass tacks. The foundation, brilliant. Maria's got fire.
But you?
The vision. I want in. I laughed, sharp and involuntary. In? After you lawyered up and left me holding the bag. Left? I took the fall. Alice. Fraud plea? That's 5 years hanging if appeals tank. Miami's a downgrade. He leaned in. Cologne wafting, Aqua di Gio. Same as always. But family pivots. Like you did. Pivots. His word for betrayal. Repackaged. What's the angle? Launder your image? Donate dirty money? No angle. Pride. His eyes softened. The chameleon shift. You exposed me. Fair play. Now let me atone. Board seat. Seed capital. Clean. From residuals. I wiped the bar.
Rag. Twisting like my gut.
Residuals? From what? Ghost developments. But Maria's words echoed. Circles. And the foundation needed cash. Our first project, a rehabbed brownstone in Englewood, teetered on default.
Fine.
Proposal to Maria. She vets. He nodded, finishing the drink.
Deal.
Dinner? Catch up. Not tonight. But as he left, tip crisp on the bar. A 20 with proud scrawled in Sharpie. Something stirred, not forgiveness, but strategy. If he wanted in, I'd control the terms. Turn the wolf into a sheepdog. Word spread like flu in winter. By week's end, locals whispered, "Hargrove's back. That girl's playing with fire." Becca called, from Boston. Voice syrupy concern. "Cousin drama? Dad says Richard's unhinged." Stay safe. Safe? In the city that chews dreams? I laughed it off, but installed a ring cam on my door. The app pinging alerts like paranoia. The board meeting was at Maria's community center. Fluorescent buzz and folding chairs. She eyed Dad's pitch deck, slick PowerPoint on sustainable urban renewal, with a squint. Pretty pictures. Where's the ledger? He flipped to spreadsheets. Numbers neat as lies. All above board. Audited. I chimed in, playing good cop. It's legit. Maria. We set boundaries. No voting power. Quarterly reviews. She chewed her lip, then nodded. Trial basis. One slip. You're out. Handshake sealed it. Post-meeting beers at a nearby dive. The three of us, odd trinity. Dad regaled with Florida tales. Pelicans. Poker nights with ex-cons. Humbled me. Alice. You're doing. Maria snorted. Humble's a start, but as shots clinked, his foot brushed mine under the table. Accidental? Or the old charm offensive? I pulled away. Excuses bubbling. Home that night. The envelope waited on my stoop. No stamp. Handwritten for Alice, truth. Inside. Photos. Mom and Maria. Arms linked at a protest. Pre-Kensington. Notes scrawled. Partners in the fight. Elena funded the resistance. Richard discovered. Flipped the script. My hands shook. Funded?
Mom.
The quiet watercolorist. Bankrolling activists? It reframed everything. Her instability as strategy. The cabin a hideout, not despair. I confronted Maria next morning. Photos splayed on her Formica table. Explain.
She sighed.
Pouring café con leche. Your mama. She hated what Richard was becoming. Greed swallowing soul. She funneled money to us, tenants legal. My van payments. Anonymous. When he found out.
Rage.
The brakes? Warning to me. Elena confronted. And the overdose? Poisoned wine.
He slipped something.
I suspected. But proof. She shrugged. Helpless. The pieces slotted, Mom. The secret warrior. Dad. The betrayed husband turned monster. My revenge? Misdirected. Painting her as victim when she was avenger. Dad texted. Board update? I replied. We need to talk. All of us. The sit-down was at a neutral diner in Logan Square, booths sticky with history. Air thick with fry grease. Dad arrived first. Buoyant. Progress. Maria and I slid in opposite. Photos between us like a loaded deck. Truth time, I said. His face cycled. Confusion. Denial. Fury. Fabrications. Elena was depressed. End of story. Then why the notes? The transfers? Maria pressed. He bolted. Chair scraping. This is sabotage. You're both unhinged. Outside. Rain lashed. Taillights blurring. He turned.
Soaked.
Alice. Choose. Me or her lies. The choice cleaved me, blood versus bond. Truth, I whispered. He drove off, tires spinning gravel. That night, Lou, the fixer, called from a block number. Boss says stay clear. Or else.
Threats. Classic.
I changed locks. Told Maria to arm up. The foundation surged. Ironically, Dad's seed money drawing donors. Headlines praising redemption arc, but shadows lengthened. Winter hit hard. Blizzards burying the city in white lies. I aced the LSAT. Northwestern waitlisted me. Bartending funded therapy, sessions unpacking the gray. Was Dad monster or man-cornered? Mom saint or schemer? Then the fire. Our Englewood brownstone. Gutted overnight. Arson. Investigators said faulty wiring. But whispers pointed to payback. Maria raged. He's burning us out. Literally. I drove to Miami unannounced. The Gulf a turquoise tease under relentless sun. His condo was beachfront kitsch, palm motifs. Infinity views mocking my vertigo. He answered shirtless.
Cocktail in hand.
Bold move. End it. I shoved arson reports at him. The building. You're doing? Denial first. Then the flip. Contrition. Scared. Losing you. Lou overstepped. Fire Lou. Or I go public, again. He agreed. Eyes wet. I love you, Alice. Flawed. But real. Hug followed.
Tentative.
Forgiveness? Or fool's gold? Back in Chicago. Spring thawed the ice. Foundation rebuilt stronger. Ribbon cutting with mayor's photo op. Dad visited. Subdued, bored observer. Not king. Dinners thawed too. Steak at Gibson's. Story sans spin. But the twist simmered. A package arrived. Mom's old sketchbook. Mailed anonymous. Pages chronicled Kensington evictees' portraits. Notes on Richard's war. Last entry. Alice. If you read this, know I fought for you. Don't let him win by hating. Tears blurred ink. She'd borne the sins too, her funding a mistake. Drawing Dad's wrath. One night. Post-rebuild party at the center. Dad pulled me aside.
Proud.
Truly. I searched his face, graying.
Lined. Me too.
Maybe. As guests danced to salsa. Maria winked. Circle closed. Not yet, I murmured. But closer. Summer brought heat waves and heat. Northwestern acceptance. Full ride. Law school loomed. A chance to litigate for real. Housing rights. Corporate nooses. Dad's email, congrats. Dinner before you go?
Yes.
At the club. Full circle. Over fillets. He slid a deed. The old Kenilworth house. Deeded to the foundation. Clean slate. Gratitude swelled. But caution lingered. Why now? Because you made me. His hand covered mine warm. Steady. We toasted. Glasses chiming like fragile peace. But in bed that night. Sketchbook open. Doubt whispered. Was this end? Or intermission? Law school's first semester was a meat grinder. Socratic seminars dissecting contracts like cadavers. Casebooks thicker than Dad's alibis. Northwestern's lakefront campus glittered with promise. All glass and ambition. But my nights bled into the foundation's grind. Grant writing till dawn. Court filings for tenants squeezed by gentrifiers. Maria mentored from afar. Her texts peppered with Spanglish wisdom. Mija. Law's a tool, not a throne. Swing for the fences, but watch the curveballs. Dad played the reformed patriarch, monthly checks. No strings. Emails laced with dad jokes that almost landed. Heard you ace torts. Tort reform starts at home.
Ah.
I replied politely. But therapy unpacked the residue. Trust as a tightrope. One wobble from freefall. Thanksgiving loomed. A Norman Rockwell trap. I flew to Miami. Economy this time, no first-class crutches. His condo had evolved. Photos of us as kids on the mantle. Mom's portrait, her smile enigmatic, hung prominent. Therapy's work, he said. Uncorking a cab. Your influence. Turkey was catered. Just us. Awkward grace over cranberry. He probed gently. Boyfriend?
Spill.
Focus on cases, not dates. Truth, a flirtation with Jamal. A second year from the South Side. All easy laugh and shared outrage over redlining briefs. But vulnerability? Still locked. Post-feast. Digestives by the balcony. Waves crashing like unresolved chords. The house sale funded scholarships, he ventured. In Elena's name.
Nod.
Good. Real good. His pivot came soft. Ever wonder? What if we'd sold Kensington early? Avoided the mess? Regret? Or revisionism? Hindsight's for losers. We own the now.
He clinked my glass.
To owning it, back in Cheetown. Winter quarter hit like a polar vortex. Jamal and I escalated coffee to kisses in the study lounge, his hand tracing my scar from that childhood biking mishap, now a metaphor for hidden wounds. You're fierce, Alice, he'd murmur. Post-coital glow in my shoebox apartment. But guarded. Like you're waiting for the other shoe. The shoe dropped in February. A Tribune exposé. Anonymous source spilling on the foundation's shady origins. Headline screamed. Hargrove heiress launders family fortune? Screenshots of dad's transfers. Twisted to imply kickbacks. My phone exploded. Dean's office summons. Donors pulling out. Maria's furious voicemails. It's him. Testing you. I confronted Dad via Zoom. His face pixelated tan. Explain. Leaks happen. Competitors? Maybe. But his eyes darted, tell.
Lou.
Retired. Swear.
Pause. But.
I tipped a reporter. Mild corrective. To balance your victim narrative. Balance? The word curdled. You undermined me. Again. For your good. Law firms blackball activists. This? Street cred with the pragmatic set. Rage boiled. Screen blurring. My good? Or your control?
Click.
Logged off. Jamal held me that night, as sobs racked. Cut him loose. Alice. For real. Easier said. The board convened emergency. Maria's glare could curdle milk.
Out. Now.
Dad's response. A courier with resignation letter. Plus a flash drive. Full disclosure. My sins.
Documented.
Use or burn. Files spilled. Confessions typed crisp. Kensington bribes. Mom's poisoning detailed. Even his own childhood abuse from a belt-wielding father in Gary Steel Mills. Cycle breaker. The note read. Burn if it helps. I burn nothing. Instead, forwarded to my prof. A civil rights lioness named Prof. Reyes. Leverage, she advised over tie in Andersonville. Sue for defamation. Or co-opt. Turn poison to power. Co-opt. The American way, spin the scandal into a TED Talk. I pitched the dean, a clinic on corporate accountability, foundation as case study.
He bit.
Wary but intrigued. Spring break. I road-tripped with Jamal to Door County. Mom's last haunt. The cabin, rented now to tourists, sat weathered. Lake winds whispering. We hiked trails. His arms steady. But ghosts hiked too. Think she'd approve? I asked. Skipping stones. Jamal grinned. Hell yeah. Warrior blood. Back. The clinic launched, students dissecting Hargrove's sins. Me as reluctant TA. Dad called. Heard. Game changer. Stay out, but softer. Summer internship at the ACLU eviction defenses. Depositions that echoed my past. Maria and I expanded. 2 more buildings. Youth programs. Dad's donations? Anonymized. Funneled through proxies. Then the call, Lou. From a payphone in Joliet. Boss is sick.
Cancer.
Stage 4. Wants you. My stomach dropped. Florida bound. Jamal's go. But guard your heart echoing. Dad, at MD Anderson, wait.
No.
Miami General, shrunken in a gown. For dripping like tears. Alice. Weak. But that grin. Chemo sweet sterile. Beeps metronomic. Didn't want pity parade. But truth? Time's short. We talked, raw. Unfiltered. His regrets. Pushed you to be me. Forgot you were her.
Mom. The bridge.
She funded Maria to hurt you?
Nod.
Exposed my deals. Thought it'd wake me. Instead.
Rage.
The wine? Panic. Not premeditated. Gray again. Murder or manslaughter of the soul. Forgive, he rasped. Jamal's words, guard. Working on it. He passed the drive, physical.
Now.
All yours. Clean the slate. Back home. Files read like a confessional. Mom's roll deeper, sheet embezzled first. Small. For the cause. Dad covered. Then flipped when it escalated. The cycle, betrayal begetting betrayal. I met Jamal at the pier. Sunset gilding the skyline. What now? Write the book? Or burn it? Clinic expansion. Honor both. Fall semester. I presented. Family firms and fractured loyalties. Audience wrapped dean. Donors. Even a Tribune hack. Q&A turned heated. Is redemption PR? Or real? Both, I said. That's the controversy.
Post talk.
Dad's lawyer called. We'll read. House to me. Caveats. Donate proceeds. I signed, then deeded it all to the foundation. Full circle. But the twist brewed. Anonymous email. Ask Maria about Elena's fund. Not just tenants. Confrontation at the taqueria. Steam rising from carnitas. What fund? Maria's face fell. Elena. She skimmed more. For us.
Yes.
But also her escape. Cayman accounts. I accessed after. To keep fighting. My jaw dropped.
Mom.
The embezzler? For good. But gray. You knew. And took it. Survival. Her eyes defiant. Like you. Exposing him. Betrayal's echo. I walked out. Rain slicking streets. Jamal waited at home. Arms open. Truth hurts. But it's yours. We made love fierce. Reclaiming. Winter break. I visited Dad's grave, simple plot in a Key Biscayne cemetery. Palms rustling eulogies. Miss you, I whispered. Flaws and all. Foundation thrived. 5 buildings. Scholarships in dual names. Hargrove Delgado Elena. Law Review article dropped. Vengeance to virtue. A personal reckoning. Reviews split. Brave versus self-serving. Perfect debate fuel. One night. Buzzed on Malort at a bar crawl. Jamal proposed, ring simple. Lake view backdrop. Build with me?
Tears.
Yes. But as we kissed, phone buzzed. Maria. Clinic grant approved. Your speech sealed it. Gratitude. Yet the gray lingered. Mom's accounts? Untouched. A ghost fund. For the cause. Or my future. I decided, donate half. Seed a women's shelter. The rest? Emergency fund. For us. Wedding summer 27. Backyard affair in the old house, now community space. Jamal's vows. Through shadows. Mine. To light. Honeymoon in Door County. Cabin ours for a week. Stones skipped. Ghosts quieter. Back. Pregnant. Surprise curveball. Life layering on. The final twist? A letter from Dad's estate lawyer, codicil. To Alice, forgive the unforgivable. Or don't. But live. I framed it. Beside Mom's sketch. No one's all right or wrong. Just human. American as apple pie a la mode, sweet. Messy. Debated. Parenthood hit like a Category 5, tiny human. Endless diapers. Sleep a luxury good. Our one bed in Lincoln Park swelled to bursting with bassinets and burp cloths. Jamal's law clerk gig barely covering the rent hike. But joy.
Pure.
Unfiltered. In those gummy smiles from little Elena, named for the fighter. Not the fallen. She's got your fire, Jamal'd say, bouncing her through colic nights. City lights winking approval. The foundation? My anchor amid the chaos. Maria as got it. Spoiling with abuelita tales and empanadas. We'd scaled 10 properties citywide. Policy wins lobbying for rent caps. My article spawned invites, podcasts, panels, the Harvard Review calling it a blueprint for ethical reckoning. Controversy simmered, op-eds accusing me of profiting from pain, defenders hailing generational shift. Dad's shadow? Faded but etched. Annual visits to his grave. Elena in a carrier. Cooing at granite. Grandpa was complicated, I'd murmur. Forgiveness? Not blanket. But fitted, covering wounds without erasing scars. Second year. Jamal landed associate at a firm, pro bono heavy. Fighting foreclosures. We upgraded to a 2-flat in Ukrainian village. Pyrgis and politics the neighborhood vibe. Nights. After bedtime stories, twisted fairy tales of dragon daddies reformed. We'd debrief cases over takeout foe. You ever regret? He asked one evening. Chopsticks poised. Which part? The burn down or the build up? He grinned. The gray. I sipped tea, steeping like truths.
Nah.
It's the mortar. Spring brought bloom and bombshell. Maria's diagnosis, breast cancer. Aggressive. Fought slumlords, she joked over chemo chai. Now this Cabron. I rallied. Foundation board as caregivers. Fundraisers blending tacos and TED vibes. Elena's first steps? At the center. Maria's arms outstretched. Warrior girl, she rasped. Through it, Mom's ghost fund surfaced, auditors sniffing for the clinic. I disclosed. Origins murky. Use pure. Tainted legacy, the report read. Donors dipped, but we pivoted crowdfunded. Community bonds. Jamal's take. Transparency's your superpower.
Summer.
Remission whispers for Maria. We celebrated at the pier. Elena splashing shallows. Skyline a jagged promise. But a letter arrived certified from a Cayman firm. Elena Hargrove Trust, $2.4 million. Disbursement per directive. Directive? Mom's hand, scrawled in the margins of her sketches, for Alice's fight. No strings but justice. Windfall. We banked half for the foundation, women's co-ops in Pilsen. The rest? Grad school payback. Elena's $529. A down payment dream. Dad's codicil echoed. Live.
Fall.
I clerked for Judge Reyes, federal bench. Housing dockets. Ruling sharp as scalpels. Carving equity from precedent. One case, a developer evicting for luxury flips, echoes of Kensington. I pushed the injunction. Voice steady. Precedence not permission for predation.
Win.
Headline. Hargrove legacy evolves, from evictor to enforcer. Controversy flared. Dad's old cronies emailing vitriol. Traitor spawn. But fans flooded. Tenants thanks. Profs nods. Jamal's firm boomed. We bought the two flat outright. Polish neighbors toasting with vodka shots. Elena toddled. Words forming. Mama fight. Yes. Baby. We fight. Maria's clean scans hit Christmas. Miracle margaritas all around. But the twist uncoiled slow. A DNA test. Casual ancestry kit from Jamal's holiday swap. Results pinged. Elena. 50% me. 50% him. Wait. No, wait. The app glitched?
Or.
I retested. Heart pounding. Confirmed. Chimerism? No. Error in the original. Jamal's sample? Mismatched. What? His face. Post-result reveal over coffee.
Drained.
The kit.
It's. Off.
Lab call. Contamination? No. Paternity query flagged.
Jamal.
Steady. Recheck. Clinic confirmed. Elena's bio dad? Not him. The room spun.
How?
Affair? No. Jamal's fidelity ironclad. Mine? Memory flash. Spring break Door County. Post-hike haze. A one-night blur with an old college flame. Crossed paths at a bar. Regret buried deep. Jamal's eyes, hurt, but holding. When, before us. Official.
Lie.
Half-truth. Timeline fuzzy. He paced. Rain lashing windows. DNA doesn't lie. Alice. Confrontations stretched nights. Tears. Accusations. Elena's cries soundtrack. I need space, he said finally. Bag packed. Alone with her. Rocking in the dim. Mom's sketchbook open. Truth. Or become it. Morning. I called a flame, Mark. Now a prof in Madison. Voicemail. Elena.
Test. Now.
His reply. Panicked meetup at a neutral Starbucks. Elena with a sitter. It was one time.
Drunk.
I swear. Blood draw. Results match. Jamal's return. Yours?
No. Sobs.
Marks. The flip. His rage.
Then. Come.
Why hide?
Fear.
Of losing this.
He sat.
Hand on mine. We're family. Bio or not. but cracks spidered. Therapy joint. Unpacking. My secrets. His insecurities. Elena?
Thrived.
Oblivious. Calling him Dada still. Maria? Overposal. Blood's optional. Loves the bind. Rebuild slow. Date nights reclaimed. Jamal's ring resized for her tiny finger someday. Foundation milestone. 20th building. Gala at the old house. Toast to resilience. Elena center stage in a poofy dress. Stealing hearts.
Post-party.
Jamal pulled me to the study, Dad's old haunt. Marry me. Again. For keeps. Neil. Ring, vintage. Mom style. Yes. Honeymoon redux, Wisconsin woods. Elena with Maria. Rekindling fierce. Gray woods whispering absolution. Years folded. Elena 5. Fierce debater in Montessori. Jamal partner track. Me adjunct prof penning shadows inherited. Bestseller. Debates raging. Myth or memoir. Twists echo. Mark sought visitation, court battle. Headlines rehashing Hargrove drama. Judge ruled. Contact minimal. Supervised. Best interest, the gavel. Jamal's grip. We got this. Maria's 60th. Block party. Streets alive with mariachi and deep dish. Her toast. To circles broken. Mended. Danced upon. Elena raised a juice box. To fighters. Laughter. Mine.
Full.
Night's end. Balcony perch. City hum below. Jamal's arm. Regrets? None. The gray made the gold. Final dawn. Elena's school play. Her as Joan of Arc. Burning bright. Backstage hug. Mama. I slayed. You did. Warrior. In the audience. Ghosts sat empty seats, Mom approving. Dad nodding. Maria clapping fierce. Life's no tidy arc. Betrayals linger. Twists turn. But in the mess, we choose avenge or embrace, condemn or construct. America's drama, controversial, dark,
Tense. Ours.
and damn if it ain't beautiful.